Okay, welcome to the Y podcast with Hasheem and Muhammad. This is our introductory episode. We have the NCAA national champion, two-time Olympian, Silver Spring, Maryland repping Muhammad, and
Word.
then you have me.
Because you've done nothing.
I've done some stuff. Eventually, I'll turn the corner.
Yeah, I think you've done more than you give yourself credit for. Thank you.
Well, I haven't done any title stuff.
Hasheem, you were an All-American triple jumper while going through architecture, one of the best architecture programs in the country, and you didn't have a real coach. And you still managed to be a multiple-time All-American. That's a big-time conference champion. That's not nothing. I took cupcake classes at a very good school, but cupcake classes, so they were fairly easy. I didn't have to put my mind or my soul into what I was doing, and I certainly wasn't a standout student.
Okay, fair enough. No, I mean, I know. I was great back in the day.
but now,
No, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a pivot towards what I want to do long term. And it's not a completed plan yet. As nobody's plan is, I guess.
yeah, so I would imagine it'll never be completed because you'll continue to add pieces to it. But
yeah, but I mean, it's not a fully realized goal that I have set.
Yeah, I hear you.
But yeah. So in this podcast, we talk about anything and everything. We try to have a theme, and today's theme is what it means to be based. And the introduction to being based, I guess for me, I would say it's being in tune with yourself and understanding your natural instincts and understanding, well, with that understanding, being able to carry out your actions broadly. What is your general definition?
Yeah, I mean, mine doesn't stray too far from that. I think you being as close to who you are comfortable being in your day-to-day life. Essentially, I was talking to, I'm going to go off on tangents. I was talking to a kid, and I always tangent that way, like anybody cares I was talking to somebody. But anyway, I was talking to one of my kids about, preparing for the future and things like that. And I think a lot of times people get trapped in this world where they're trying to push for something that they think is going to bring them joy, whether that's like corporate stature or, get into this school or, just kind of ride the track of life without stopping and figuring out what really is going to make them happy, where their joy lies. And so to me, being based means actually figuring out where your joy lies and connecting and designing your life for that purpose, to extract as much joy and happiness out of life as you can.
Okay, I can get that. But the problem I have is, what is joy? I mean, the more I've tried to come to a basing philosophy, the less importance the ups have been to me. I've been more, I guess, okay with the mundane and the slowness of life.
Mm-hmm. But isn't that, the new joy is the wrong word. Joy would be, I don't necessarily mean the like ups and downs of life. I mean, you want to get as many ups as you can, but it's really taking your base static position. When you wake up in the morning on, day X,
Mm-hmm.
how are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking forward to anything? Are you okay with you? Um, are you okay with you? Are you okay with what you're doing? Are you okay with who you are? Trying to get to that point. And I think that's the joy that I think being able to go to bed at night and be satisfied with what you are. I think that's and so that I think that's kind of the same thing, is embracing the slowness and the mundaneness and how boring life is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and being able to extract as much as you can from that and just really embrace the opportunity to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been the the boringness of life has been kind of my new direction maybe in the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like through college, you're kind of waiting to get out in the world,
Right.
and you're like all these expectations, and once you hit the ground running, you're just going to be like great and exciting and crap. But my first year out, I wasn't doing anything boring, but I wasn't doing anything exciting because I was kind of waiting for it to happen. Um, and I wasn't just doing the daily mundane growth activities that let you get to those highlights, I guess. Um, and so for me, it's just trying to instill, like what I'm doing now. I'm just trying to instill just hard work and getting closer to goals pretty much daily, and trying to take in as much opinions as possible and try to see things different ways as much as possible, and understand others and help myself understand myself through that. Um, but yeah, I mean, life is pretty boring.
Yeah, it can be, unless that's what nobody tells you. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they do and we don't listen, but I don't know. Nobody really told me that life was going to be boring, um, and I think that's a struggle that's something that I've struggled with. Is like, okay, what even when I was really busy doing a lot of different, I'm trying to do 100 different things. Life in general was still just you're just getting through, or you're waiting for something, and I think that waiting gets to be dangerous
Mm-hmm.
because and it's natural. I mean, your whole life you're kind of waiting till the next grade or till you're a year older so you can do this, or you graduate and then, or you learn how to drive and get a car, and then you're going to be able to whatever. And it's these little pleasures or trinkets and stuff that you're building up to. But once you get and have, I look at my last year. The whole entire thing was a build up to the Olympic Games.
Mm-hmm.
No, what no one tells you about the Olympics is that the Olympics are boring.
Yeah, they really are.
The whole time, like you're just waiting to perform, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just waiting. I would wake up and I would just, I'd get up to light practice and I'd eat, but like it was just mundane life in a different place. It wasn't like some new crazy stuff was happening all the time. And it was like, oh, the Olympics. It's like, no, I'm just here. Like I could very well be in my apartment laying here,
Yeah.
icing my leg as I could be in the Olympic Village. Like it's not that different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I've noticed a lot about. I mean, just about events in general. Even if you go to a football game,
Mhm.
there's so much empty time.
Yeah, you're still there with yourself most of the time.
Yeah, there's so much time between plays, and even when the game's exciting, it's just that little bit of exciting. It's kind of like what we do with. I don't know. It's kind of a big jump, but it's kind of like what we do with food,
Yeah.
where you take an apple. An apple is fine. An apple is great, but then you have apple flavored. So we try to pull this tiny little excitement from everything and explode it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Everything, it's really, we're living with a lot of excitement inflation.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's healthy, because you end up where a lot of us are, where you're just kind of realizing that things just really aren't what thing you're not able to accept that things are boring. You're kind of let down that things are boring.
Right. Yeah, I hear you, and I understand why you think it's a leap, but yeah, we're trying to extract the joy. I think of it as like this is the reason why I'm not a materialistic person. I don't really care about. I've known that a long time, but I've really thought about it the past couple of years. It's like I'm not a materialistic person. Every time like I've waited and gotten really excited to buy something, right?
Yeah,
It's always just okay.
yeah,
Like
really.
there's the build up, you buy the thing, and then you just have it, right? And you can have fun with it, whatever. But like it slowly diminishes the amount of joy you can extract. Like you're pulling joy from that thing, and the only way to really get that high again is to buy something else.
Yeah.
You know, you
And
like people with phones or something, like you upgrade to the next one. The phone they made 5, 10 years ago was a perfectly fine, good phone, right?
uh,
Like the phone I have now, I use it the same way that I use the really fancy phone that I got in Rio. I extract the same things from them, but this phone was $100, and the other one is I don't know. People were buying it for like $2,000. I want to say something crazy, some crazy amount because it
uh,
was a special edition. It's like people we don't think about. We get caught up in this hype. We don't really think about like the long-term stasis, you know, that this is maybe you know, a nice car, nice this or that is going to elevate your like day-to-day happiness or you know happiness quotient, but that little bump shouldn't even register in your decision making because it's not long lasting.
mhm.
It's fickle. It's not real. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's that's what they want to happen. That's, I mean,
That
because, well, the corporate powers that be, I think.
we just deconstructing capitalism today
Well, no, I think yes, but
because I'm there with you.
I mean that's the reason. Actually, maybe not. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for my arguments, but you just feed into this anticipation, and that's all they want. They want that, and you keep coming back, and it's just diminishing, and it's always diminishing. And you'd mentioned a couple years ago about wanting to erase your memory, and at first I just didn't understand it, but I really do now, because you just can't get
Yeah,
that in people again.
yeah. I mean, you ever see a kid and how much a kid enjoys stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like the kids, I mean, the lows are low when you're a kid, but those highs, man. This is why people do drugs, I think, is to continue to chase the highs that kids experience. Because I mean, it's great. I mean, you used to look at kids, you watch a video or something of a kid like getting a Christmas present they really wanted. Now they don't have any idea of long-term happiness of what you know an Xbox is going to give them. But I mean, at that moment, man, you can't tell them anything. The world is perfect. Everything is great. And yeah, I think as you get older, it's like, yeah, sure, that's great. Yeah, sure,
Uh,
that's great. But it's just these little, everything just smooths out into this.
yeah.
I don't know. That's a depressing thought or depressing thing to go through. Adulthood is depressing. Growing older is depressing. Not for the age component. Like I always thought, like you know, people would say like, "Oh, getting older stinks," because they would always say, "Oh, their body doesn't work the way," and that maybe you know that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardest part about getting older is that year after year, things seem to be just less. Vroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, they are. You can just kind of predict how you'll feel, even if you're gonna get excited about something, you're not as present in that excitement. you're comparing it to another time, or you're thinking ahead after the excitement. What happens after the party's over?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just being there in it, you know. But we went when we went up to DC to work a couple months ago.
When you didn't come visit.
Duh, it was a busy week.
Kidding.
But we stopped in Richmond, and we went to an Arby's, and it was like our last option. We were just hungry. We just needed somewhere to go.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. But this Arby's was completely different. It had like fresh lemonade, rotisserie chicken, potato wedges. Everybody, all the waiters in there were so excited about it and were just so promoting them. And we were just in disbelief because our expectations were just completely down here. And it was just mind blowing. And it was so mundane, but because of our age, I don't think a kid would have gotten that excited about Arby's.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because of our age and how mundane everything has gotten, that stupid little uptick was just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the cap on how much joy you would expect a trip to Arby's to bring you is pretty low. Like, there's not a whole lot going on in your day if you're going over to Arby's. Like, things aren't going great. And so, yeah, I get that. That's a cool, interesting insight because, I guess, yeah, like you're saying, as you travel down this lower and lower excitement, it's like something new. I guess new things still can happen, but they have to come out of left field, right?
Yeah, that's the sucky part. I mean, well, that's actually the magic of it. You can't predict it. But
yeah, but and so I don't know if it's the Westerner or the American in me is saying, okay, well, how do we extract that? How do you pull that experience out and be able to replicate that on a longer term, at a more regular interval, so that people don't. I was going to go dark. I was going to say so people don't kill themselves without expectation of more of a payoff. It's like, oh no, things are done. So how do you pull that out? How do you set your life up to have more of that?
I'm not sure.
Well, you have to go outside, right? You have to try and experience things.
Yeah, you do. You have to. I mean, I think that's the best you can do, is just be out there, be on the field. It's the same with relationships or finding a mate. Is just, you can't pigeonhole yourself into this one. I need this, and this property.
Yeah.
You just have to I was telling a friend a couple of days ago, they were kind of wondering where they were going to go in life. And, you just have to start with something you think you like.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing that can happen is you find out you don't like it, but at least you're past that.
Right.
And then, because once you actually doing something, these other options open up, these other thoughts open up, and these things that couldn't have happened otherwise happen. And some of them might be getting surprised by Arby's, Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's being on you can't be stagnant. You can't just be and stay whatever you're doing, just, kind of stay there, be open to possibility and be out there, be outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a sneaking suspicion or a theory, and maybe this is more of a literal be outside. I think there's a big opportunity I think the internet's ending. We disagree on this.
You think it's over? The golden age has passed?
The hype and because maybe I just feel it personally, but I just don't think the internet has the substance that people want it to have, and I think they're realizing that.
You think they're actually realizing that? Because
No,
that's what as is. I agree with you that there's no substance in memes,
yeah,
and I mean we've extracted comedy, and we've extracted so many things via the internet, but there's nothing there that to hold on to, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's nothing like cracking a joke with friends.
No, not
Like
at
a
all.
surprise, not like people regurgitate jokes that they hear like from movies, which always bothered me. I always thought it was unfair
Yeah.
because maybe because I didn't grow up watching movies, but but like a real like off the cuff witty thing that you said that just came to you in a group of friends or a group of family or something. Like to me, that's like the pinnacle of enjoyment.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
And you can't really do that. There's it's an extraction of that when you're doing it online.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the way I see it, like the internet's only extracting from reality. You can only get memes from things that have actually happened.
Right.
So the internet, it's just a communication platform. It can't be the source of reality. It can't be the
Sure.
source of content. And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping people duck out of the crash of the internet and start making reality great again, so they can make the internet, it can kind of cycle itself.
I hear you.
But
Virtual reality is coming.
Muhammad is not reality.
No, but I'm saying, so I hear what you're saying, but we've also got these, coming to personal consumption more and more, is these virtual reality headsets that are going to be crazy, and people can experience all kinds of fantastical stuff that's not based in reality, that's just inside people's heads.
True.
And so, and maybe there will be a way to gauge a connection or connect with people in that way. But that's going to be way more fun than outside.
You can't touch it though. You can't even smell it.
Yeah, they need to work on that.
Yeah, I don't think we're very fair to our senses. Everything's just sight and sound.
I hear you.
But even then, like I've always looked at this when I'm watching like a movie, like a sci-fi movie, I've never really watched Star Wars, but I'll just use it as an example. Like it's supposed to be some completely other dimension,
right,
other thing, yet and still you have all of these reality-based facts that just go unchecked. Mm-hmm. Like the woman wearing the long hair and all these things.
But love story is in there and to weave good and evil and so it's a human-based. It's very human-centric.
Yeah, you can't get too many degrees past reality.
Well, because nobody would watch it because they want to connect with things. This is one of the things that I've been railing against on, kind of with movies for years, is everybody wants to connect with a movie when let's get weird, right?
Exactly. What's the harm? Be uncomfortable, man.
Bro, just go crazy. Don't try and tug at my heartstring or bring it home. Get weird. Get crazy.
Yeah. Just
rewrite the whole rules of the game.
Just have a movie where it's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the president of the Sad Movie Fan Club for that very reason, is I want my movies to have an option to not end well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my dream, and we're way off on a tangent, my dream is to be able to go to a movie theater and for it to be an option that within like 10 minutes, that movie just ended. It's like, because you watch a movie and it's like, oh, this crazy scenario where it takes the protagonist an hour and a half to deal with something that, if something would have spun just a little bit differently, it would have been a 10-minute problem.
Yeah, and you.
I want, but so why wouldn't you create a movie? You know, like the choose your own way
Yeah.
books that used to be out. Wouldn't it be cool if there was an option that you would go to it's the same movie, and sometimes when you saw it, it would only be 10, 15 minutes long, and it was just like, oh, okay, huh,
No, that's how that ends.
yeah, that's the end of it.
Everybody just walks out. That'd be hilarious.
But you'd have to like keep the bubble so that nobody would know. Like you don't want to be able to suspend the disbelief when you go in. Of oh, I know this is only going to be. I read the review online of it only being 15 minutes. There, this is a troll movie.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. So you like release a bunch of different versions.
Sure, yeah.
And you never know which one you're seeing.
You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah, never. It's not like, oh, I can see it 4 times and I might get all of them. Like you might get all of them, but you might get the same one again. Like you can't predict it. Just and then the movie is just a little bit different for all kinds of different audiences, and you just have to deal with that. Stop trying to, people try and deconstruct movies so much to the point of insanity, right? Deconstruct all art to the point of like the artist wasn't even trying to convey anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, can't we just let it be?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, see, back in my day, I used to rail on art.
I remember that day.
Hey, we have a viewer, Muhammad.
Do we? How?
I posted it on Google Plus.
Oh.
But so I mean, recently, like my pastime these past couple months has been going to art galleries.
Mm-hmm.
I go to them often, and at this point, I'm just like, I'm happy that it's there.
Right.
Express yourself, and whatever. And what was my point? Well, it's more of a stop trying to rate things for how good they are,
mm-hmm.
and just let it. I mean, because I said this in my Sheen Pants video about the artist that just said take everything in. I mean, you just never know when things are going to hit you. So why condition your experience towards trying to juxtapose one thing versus another whenever you encounter it,
right?
And judge it. Oh, this is better than this, and
right.
It's just, and that's kind of what being based has taught me. And as much as I joke about, I mean, I do my bit of trolling about Lil B. But in all honesty, at a certain point, after listening to hundreds of his songs, you come to the conclusion, let him be. Let him just do it.
Yeah. I think that's the greater. I'm not as versed in Lil B as you are, but I mean, I've listened to a couple of his like talks and things.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the finish. Maybe not the finish line, but that's getting around the curve of what he is. Right. He's really just ultimately just a guy who enjoys rapping.
Yeah.
And so he raps.
Yes. And it's just a great idea. And it's so great to just see it done with all the hate, and he just keeps powering through. Doesn't change his style and even if he does change his style, so what at that point?
Right. He's just a guy doing what he enjoys. And that in the world of the internet, which tampers down anything that is outside or as open and free as the internet is, there's so much trolling, and not necessarily trolling, but hate and negativity that comes with people just living their life. That but that he's managed to transcend, you know, because he's just anybody doing something he likes.
Yeah, and that's all
a
you can ask
wonderful
for.
thing. That's all you can want out of. I don't know. That's all I think I would want out of life is to be able to do what I want to do, and if something brings me joy, if something I'm happy to do, journey on something, like I can do that. Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, he's a really really inspirational character for me.
I hear that. I get that. I do understand that. Now, I'm never gonna listen to his rap. I think his raps are terrible. But who cares what I think about his rap? It's his rap.
Exactly.
You know? And that's the next point. It's like, I mean, you have shoes. Who cares what I think about your shoes? At the end of the day, really, who cares? They're your shoes. It's something you're doing. I'm not making shoes. If I was making shoes, then I should care how I feel about my shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's really it. You know, I enjoy it a lot, and it's something. Well, I've always been drawing shoes my whole life.
Sure.
And I think it was you. Like, I told this story to my coworkers. When I was little, I said I wanted to be a shoe designer. And I think you told me that kids in China make shoes.
I've always been an awful person, a cynic.
But what I took that to mean was that children in China were designing shoes, in that I missed my moment already.
Right.
And so I thought
you weren't born in China, like you don't have a shot in the shoe game.
I thought I wasn't like cool enough or smart enough to be a shoe designer. So I was like, oh man, I missed that boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of interesting you said that, because I made a shoe on Saturday, and afterwards, like, so here's the whole story.
Strap in. Strap in, viewer.
So I had a work trip to Florida last week, but the day before that, I made a shoe, and it just, so many ideas came together, and the look of it was so good that I was just riding on high the whole week, because I was away from my house. I couldn't make anything.
Right.
So the whole week, I was just spending, how am I going to market this? Who am I going to use from this place for my distribution, and how I get my family involved, and this is just going to be great. And so the whole week is spent thinking about the perception of the shoes to others, and it's not about me making them anymore. And so I get back, and I'm so excited. The first thing I do on Saturday is I make another shoe, and it goes terribly. And it's like, I should be better than this. Keep in mind, this is the 5th shoe I've ever made. I still haven't cracked open a book on how real people make shoes.
Is that right?
Yes.
You just started.
Yeah. And I'm just like throwing myself around the couch, just like, I'm so terrible. How could I even think that I could sell these, and what am I even doing with this? And just all this crap that arrived from just trying to think too big outside of the personal journey I'm having with the fabric, you know? And I was getting, it was just the whole experience, just getting super frustrated while I was sewing it. Like, that should have been better. So, the madder I get, the worse I get.
Right.
I broke a needle. It just got, it got bad. But, so, if I was more based, then obviously it wouldn't matter how good or bad it would be. It just would have been, and I would have learned, and I would have grown, and, added on to my ideas. But I don't know, it's you can't get away from perception of others, obviously. You can't be an island, but you can't get caught up in the opinions. That's why I didn't even, at first, I wasn't even going to post any of my shoes on Instagram. Because that place is just, I follow too many artists and stuff, and it's too high strung right now.
The Instagram streets are hot.
Yeah. I have to make sure they're just like amazing quality before I post a good in-depth picture or video of my shoe.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, Instagram is a part of the cesspool of the internet, I think, as far as outside validation. That's its whole point, right?
Yeah, really.
And I don't know. Instagram. I think my Instagramming days are coming to an end, or have come to an end a long time ago.
I know.
I don't have. For example, me and Ashley cooked a lot this weekend, right? We both did a really good job. I made this pie. I made this cherry pie. I've been like working on pies. I've been trying to make good pies, like from scratch, and make the crust and everything. I've been like, that's been one of my projects. And I made the best pie I've ever made. It was cherry pie, made it from scratch. Like everything came together. And they got to a point, and then she likes to take pictures or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, she sends me the picture on my phone. Are you gonna post it on like Instagram or something?"
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to take that. Like for what? I made a great pie, and I'm trying to just own that experience. It's like, that was an excellent pie. I look forward to eating it. It's tasty. It came out like the consistency of the dough was really good. It came out well. That's it. The pie's done.
That can be it.
Yeah, that can be it. That can be the end. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the experience. Hopefully the next one will be better. It might not. The last couple I've made have been duds.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying that process, so I'll keep doing it. And then if I don't enjoy it anymore, I won't do it anymore. But I'm not gonna, and so there's a balance that needs to be struck though, because I'm not trying to sell pies to people.
Mm-hmm.
If I was, then it would be really important for the pie to be more aesthetically pleasing, or this or that. There's other outside factors outside of how much am I going to enjoy eating this pie.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing like with your shoes, is like, if you're making the shoes and you're enjoying making the process of making shoes and designing, which you've always done, now you're able to do it in 3D. Like, that's a cool kid to adult moment, right?
Yeah.
Go from drawing these shoes on paper like we used to do, and then like, okay, well, I can make that. Like, I have the capacity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. You can do 3-dimensional, wear them, and whatever. I look forward to. I don't know if you have your old drawings, but I look forward to seeing you in some Saturns. I think that's cool. That's a cool thing. I do. I really think that's a cool thing, because I don't know. For me, it's always been hard to connect from being a child to being an adult. Like, the sameness or the growth into the linear progression of one thing that I enjoyed as a child to progressing into something real as an adult.
Yeah.
I think that's to me, that's the coolest kind of thing, is to see that. And so, but you also have to feed yourself, right?
See, that's the sucky part.
Yeah. You have to feed yourself in life. Like, we're not in a society. Maybe we are. Maybe if you moved out and then you farmed and you actually asked me yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. She was like, "Do you think you'd enjoy being a farmer?" And I remember as a kid, I always that was like one of the jobs that I wanted was to be a farmer. I just thought that was cool. Obviously, I don't know anything about farming because I'm not experienced in it. But like, I just always thought it was cool to wake up and like be on the land and take care of this and the animals, take care of some plant, your crops, and like this whole cycle that was about feeding your family, and like that whole thing is romanticized in my head. And so, right or wrong, I've just always been attracted to that tangibility of product.
Mm-hmm.
That the work I put in here can come around. And now this book, what was the book? Not The Sky is Falling. About a chicken who wanted to everybody's help making her cake.
I don't remember that.
This is a short story as a kid, where she asked the fox, like, "Hey, I need to, chop some wheat to make my flour for my cake." And then not I, said the wolf. And then she wanted to, she needed to do all these steps to make this cake. And then finally she makes the cake, and everybody wanted to eat the cake. But you didn't even help me. What do you mean you want to eat this?
Yep.
And that's not necessarily the point. I just always thought it was cool. It's like, yeah, you can take all this stuff, and then you make something that's delicious that people would enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that the pinnacle of enjoyment, of based satisfaction, is being able to just be part of the process, be farming the things and putting them together and getting the enjoyment from the not having the cake be the pinnacle. Like somehow the cake is just part of the linear enjoyment of the whole process.
I hear you. Yeah, that's like our perception of time. The beginning is the beginning and the end is the end. And when you get to the end, that's when you're done. It's this pinnacle, but that's, along with being on the journey. The journey, people say the journey is the real blah blah blah. But it really, like, you're right. The cake doesn't matter. It's the process. The whole thing is cool.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is that's like, if you just got a cake plopped in your face, and I don't really like cake that much, but like, if you had the end product plopped in your face, like, that's fine, that's cool, but like, it's not nearly as cool as if you went through the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Rick Ross said best, they're not there shooting with you in the gym.
No, they're not. I use that quote pretty much every day.
But that's the greatest part.
Right.
That lets you know it's always going to be a personal journey.
Right. It's yours.
You can't get too attached to that end game where everybody descends on you and tries to extract your hard work. Because that's what it is.
Yeah, I think about one of the things that was funny when I qualified for the Olympics, both times. There's one person who I was friends with this person on Facebook, right? And then I wasn't friends with them initially, and then I qualified for the London Games, and we were friends again. Like, they requested friends, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I haven't seen that person in a long time." And I chatted with them for a little bit, and then I didn't talk to them for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I qualified for Rio, and like, the news article came out, and like, a bunch of cool stuff started happening, and they re-requested me. I didn't even know that the person was gone. But, like, they re-requested me. I'm like, what? What? Why?
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I haven't gotten more interesting on Facebook. But like, why? Like, I don't know. That kind of stuff always perplexes me. It's like, I'm of no benefit to you in this.
Yeah.
Like, so why? It's because, and at some point you decided, hey, this person, I don't know, I haven't talked to this person in a while. This person's pretty boring. Whatever, justified reason, completely justified. You were like, I don't need that person on my list.
Yeah.
Or I'm cleaning out my friends' New Year. Something happened where I was like, I didn't make the cut, and for good reason, because my Facebook stinks. But do you think I've changed? Like, nothing's changed.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just qualified for the same thing I qualified for last time. Like, what's the point of like re-adding me? I'm not going to get interested. We're just going to go through this cycle again of you friending me, chatting with me, and leaving it alone. I actually didn't accept that friend request because let's not do this again.
Mm-hmm.
As low effort of a relationship as a Facebook relationship could be. But it's like, Why are we going to do this again?
Mm-hmm.
We've been through this. Nothing's changed with my profile picture. Maybe I've made one profile picture change that you can probably see already. Like there's nothing that you're going to get. You've seen the article, obviously. You've seen, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. They're just
one of those descenders on something that's like really personal to me. Like really, I'd probably take too much ownership over. It's like this was a journey. Like this is something I worked really hard for. There's a lot of a lot of setbacks and stuff along the way. I was doing it all by myself. Like it was just me by myself, as Kevin Hart says. Just me. It was just me.
Yeah, really.
And I did it, and I accomplished a big piece of what I wanted to do. Something that was, I think, was very, very unlikely, and it was done, and that was the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was over, and it was cool. It was great, but like that wasn't like for other people's joy.
Yeah,
I don't know, and then maybe that's a selfish thing with me. It's like I don't understand other people taking, like, being happy about that. Is that depressing?
No, I get that too.
Like this had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, and then
it's something like it's family and stuff. Like families, oh, I'm proud of you. That's great. But I mean, I think our family is like responsibly proud.
Yeah.
And then there's like people I don't even really know who are like, you're that happy, really? I'm not. This has nothing to do with you. You have your own life.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think about that, and that's not the way most people would have responded. But I really don't have a way to respond.
Yeah.
Because that's me.
Yeah, and that's kind of why people, they like ask you if they learn that you've been to the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of poke you to get your excitement so they can feel the excitement too.
Oh, it's worst, right?
Mm-hmm. They try to get the hype off of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you went to the Olympics? How was it? And then you're supposed to act.
Yeah. Oh man, it was. What am I supposed to tell you, man? It was cool. It was boring. It was really boring. But it was cool. Like it was great. It was awesome. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't fireworks and explosions all the time. It was just really cool to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my reaction. That's my answer. It was really cool. And then you see like the disappointment on the person's face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy doesn't have anything for me.
It's a selfish game, man.
But then what? Like, why do we do that? Why do we? Because I'm sure I would do that too. That's not a foreign question. That's not an obscene question to be like, oh yeah, how was that great thing or this really cool thing that you did? How was that? Open-ended. Share.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no harm in it for sure.
I mean, is that what? Are we just trying to extract somebody's joy? Or are we trying to bask?
Yeah. It's definitely extraction. I mean, I think, like, even when I was explaining what I thought based was, it includes getting other people's perspectives.
Sure.
And when you're fed off of all the hype and all the Instagram and all the meme energy, all you want to extract is what you think is the best. But I think as you get more based and centered, you want to extract more of the slow emotions and the more mundane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure if somebody had asked you in a more calm or a better way how the Olympics was, you could have an actual conversation about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. I had a long conversation with one of my athletes about the Olympics.
Oh, yeah?
It was a great conversation. Like I hadn't talked to anybody about it in that way. Mm-hmm. At least not a lot of people, not many people, but it was a couple weeks ago. And we just had, I mean, we we were supposed to be practicing, but it was like just we kept going off on this tangent. It was just a really good conversation about the Olympics in general, my experiences with certain things, and then you could, and that's why I say like I'm not good unprompted. I say that all the time, and I'm not. I don't know where to go in my head for just off the top talk.
Yeah.
But I there's stuff in here, but I'll look really dumb if you just ask me, hey, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And you just leave that alone. Like, I don't know. I'm not, I don't know if it's education, maybe it's just I'm dumb, but I'm not good with, that's so open-ended for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of things. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole, my idea behind trying to get past small talk was kind of that, is trying to find out the cues to get past that.
Yeah.
That super open-ended, like how, I don't know. That's, I mean, that's kind of another thing, but it's hard to, well, I mean, a lot of times you don't have time to actually have long conversations, but, well, that's not even what I would want. Ideally, what I would want is a quick conversation that's not that exciting, but that is actual, just authentic, you know?
Yeah.
But we're conditioned to entertain people, and that's not, who's that helping, you know?
I am not trained to entertain people. I'm not built that way.
Mm-hmm.
I like to entertain people when I jump.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've always felt comfortable being an entertainment piece there. But outside of that, if you're just talking to me, I'm not the one. I have a lot of things that have happened in my life. I have a lot of stories and stuff I can tell, but I can't for the life of me pull anything out just off the cuff.
Yeah.
I've always been impressed by people who can like, people, I don't know if impressive is the right word, but like, some people just like have jokes lined up.
Yeah.
Like that's always like something that if success in life were completely based upon the ability to recall a joke, like a good joke, I would be the worst. But like that's something that I can't do. But I think it's cool that our people are able to do that. And to me, that's the same kind of talent or the same kind of ability that small talk is, or like navigating from small talk to real conversations is that like emotional intelligence to, whereas you or I would look at it as, okay, let's get through this interaction.
Let me just say your name correctly, so they don't have to repeat.
Hi, I'm so and so, and you forget, like, oh crap, I forgot their name. I don't even know what that. I was just so prepped, trying to be me. Put me together. I didn't even pay attention to what the other person was doing, and I don't have anything useful to say. But now we have to stand in the elevator together and ride up from 1 to 8, and like we really are going to run out of conversation beyond how's it going, cool.
Yeah.
Whereas, some people are really good at, hey, how's it going? And being rattle, and you get to 8, and it's like, oh man, we could have talked forever. But I know, like, when I'm involved in that situation, I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's all.
Because I had to be pulled into that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I would just like it if things could be not exciting, and it wouldn't make me feel bad that I didn't entertain the person.
I hear you.
That would be great if I could fully, like, that would probably be one of the pinnacles of me being based.
Yeah.
I could fully understand that and be okay with that. And like,
And you don't have to apologize for disappointing them with your conversation.
I'm just who I am.
Or you could just be like, oh, I made some shoes, and you just start with that.
That would be amazing.
Not even like you were like bursting to say it. It's just like, oh, this person might be interested in what I have to, like, oh, I made some shoes, and then the response would be, oh, that's really cool. And there's only a few people that you'd interact with like that would be like, oh, that's really cool, that's really interesting, that's something you don't hear every day, let me delve farther. Whereas I feel like in most conversations that's going to be, oh, okay, I'm not prepared for any of that information.
Yeah.
I remember in third grade, it's just like, I don't know, I think it was third grade. I was one of the new kids in school. I was the new kid in school. And I didn't know where to sit like for lunch. And it was like 4 days in or something. And I walk up, I'm like, I'm going to have a story. These kids always have stories and conversation pieces. I'm going to have a story. Like, I'm going to say something and people are going to be so interested. And I sat down at the table and I was like, hey, you guys know I caught a bird yesterday. I didn't catch a bird yesterday, but like I was like gonna lead with that and see where it went. I thought about it like all morning, and I went for it. And they were like, "Oh, really?" Like things got weird really quickly. I think about that moment a lot, like more often than I probably should. But it was just such an awkward exchange.
Yeah.
Of like, and they completely rejected the premise that I was going with. And they just moved on and like continued to have a conversation.
No.
I was like, oh man, that's not my game. So I don't know if it was like that was going to be a really boring story, or if it was coming from such a disingenuous place, and they could like read it on me like there was nothing happening. There was no segue into, nobody was talking about birds or even playing outside, but I just went for it. Oh, and it was a miss. And I don't know if that impacted me, but I feel like it did. Whereas like, it's not like I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything for the most part. I'm an open person. I don't open the door for you. Yeah. The door's unlocked, But this, I tried to open the door and unlock it, but it was a false door. It wasn't my door. It was just another door. But is that to say, it's like maybe that's a shyness away from that kind of rejection. Because I remember that feeling and being like, oh, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a better world if that is how it worked. If you could just open with what you've got.
Just put your cards on the table.
Yeah, like here's where I am right now. And somebody would just be like, "Oh, cool! Like let's talk about that then."
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about you. It's all about what you have to say about this right now. I'm going to ask questions and I want to find out. But if that's where you are, let's explore it.
Yeah. Instead, it's what can I say that everybody else can relate to?
Right. And so it's blanching your own expression.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. You suffer. But
that was one of like the most this isn't going well. I don't think I sat with them the rest of the year.
No, Mom.
I'm serious. I think that was the end of like that moment, because I think there were what grade was this? It was either third or fourth grade. Because third and fourth grade were very similar for me. Like I went in as the new kid in third grade, and then in fourth grade, I was the only one from my class to go to the Mr. Crane's class, like to that class. I don't know why it was or why it was that way. I think Mrs. McMurray had a thing against me, but I was the only one from her class in third grade to go to the fourth grade class that I went to. And I was like, oh, now I get to be the new kid all over again. Great. I knew exactly zero people. Well, that's not true. I knew the kid from the Hausa.
Nice.
Amer.
Uh,
Is that his name?
yeah.
Yeah. I knew him. He was the only person I knew in the class. No, I was trying to think, like, how could the internet embrace that that idea of just putting your cards on the table for something? Here's what I'm talking about. I mean, if I post that on Reddit, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
Not enough, like, where it's gonna be an engagement. You know, it's too big.
It's hard to do. There's so much else competing with your attention when you're on the internet itself. For that to be, I don't know. I mean, my biggest problem with the internet is what do they call it? Circle jerk. I forgot the other term. Echo chamber.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out how to make the internet not an echo chamber for a long time, and it's just impossible. You go to what you want to go to, and that's fine.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. In the fake news front, to you know, if the internet wasn't really like websites you could go to, it was just like news, and then just like any news source came up, and that's what you had to deal with.
Hilarious.
Like, then one day you get to do Huffington Post, and next time you look for news, you're at the Drudge Report, and next day you're on, you know, some you know, reputable, you know, and you just have just whatever. This is the news for the day. This is what you got.
Think of it what you make.
Yeah, here's what we have for you.
That's pretty good. All right. Are you all based out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we've solved anything, but
No, it's not about solving anything.
okay.
We didn't even talk about the original reason I wanted to bring it up.
Oh, why did you want to bring it up?
Our in the woods versus technology difference.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't really matter.
It does matter. How long is this thing supposed to be? An hour?
I was saying 20 minutes, but I mean, an hour is fine.
Has it been an hour?
Yeah.
Is there more segments?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was going to do a segment on our fake sister, but
Yeah. That's unfortunate. That guy. I figured it was us, but
that was going to be so crazy.
I was hoping, I think, with everybody else that it would, that it wasn't, and it was just something new. That was like, that's one of those things that was like, oh man, this is new. You couldn't have guessed this is like a television show. What a twist.
Just this mysterious, and it's just this, all this past comes out that people just haven't spoken about in so long.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That'd be so great. A new sister. So we can just not talk to her in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not okay.
Which is exactly what would happen. This person's been searching for their family to have one picture of their siblings from their whole life. And they finally make contact.
Yes. Unfortunately for them, they're
this family.
Memes.
mercy.
Uh,
That would suck. Good for that. Good for that imaginary person that's not what happened. 'Cause that would be crushing, I think.
that'd be pretty bad.
You know, you find out you've got all these siblings that you never knew existed, and they're the worst.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been the first episode of the Why, and I hope we answered some whys. I don't think we really did, but
Yeah.
we did. No, we got pretty good.
Yeah, we'll have to. We're gonna have to tamp down on our. It got long.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna last that long. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna take 15 minutes or so.
sure. And it didn't have to.
Well, I mean, that's
But
okay.
whatever.
All right, and we will see you later.